We apologise for any technical issues that occurred during this episode. Stay safe, stay home.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Welcome to Queer Opinions. Queer Opinions.
The podcast.
Wow.
Love, relationships, hot topics,
LGBTQ+.
gay culture,
Scott McGoldrick with Claire.
With Claire.
And Mel.
and Mel.
Wow. It's just love.
It's just love.
It's just love. It's just love.
Hi guys, welcome to Queer Opinions episode 2. I'm your host Scott McGoldrick and I'm joined by my beautifully talented co-hosts Mel and Claire. Yay! Last week Claire wasn't here. Me and Mel had our little coming out sort of episode just to introduce the podcast, and we talked about some interesting topics which we're going to kind of throw back to in this episode to get Claire's opinion. Do you want to say hi, Claire?
Hi.
Me and Mel had to answer the same question last week. What is, like, just as a little icebreaker, what's your worst, best, or funniest moment from high school? So the viewers can get to know you.
I think I met my three sons' dad at high school, so we had the whole typical high school romance.
How long have you been
But-
together? No?
Yeah, like 19 years, 20 years thereabouts. But
Oh my
Well,
god.
yeah, life out.
That's
But
crazy.
I don't know. I think one of the best funny moments that I had was I was like I said, quite nerdy, kind of, if anything, gravitated to like the kind of emo mortuary type look and everything. But I had this friend, Cheryl Lee, who was one of the nerdy girls, and we had a life swap day. So I wore all her clothes, she wore all mine. She came in like black eyeliner. She had I think at the time it was a Nirvana hoodie, and I came in wearing her like big hoops, like sister rings and all that.
Do you remember those double rings were like so popular back then? I had one as well. It said Scott on it or something, and I had a ring that said CFC Celtic and stuff because my dad. Guys, would you say in your circle, do you mostly hang around with straight people, gay people? Because my circle, I feel as though they're just all lesbian and gay.
My mum called me the flypaper for the gays. Unintentionally, even my 10-year-old was like, "Oh, you made more gay friends, mum." I think I'm quite balanced. I think I've got quite a even split of like gay men, lesbians, and straight people in my circle. If you call 4 people my circle.
Oh, so my circle's like 4 people as well.
What about you, Mel?
I think it was in school and stuff, and in uni and things. It was like everyone was just kind of straight, but everyone was kind of weird. And then actually recently, everyone kind of comes out. So you realise that all the kind of oddball people that you all kind of got together with, they were all like queer, and it's all
Hiding.
sort of came together. Yeah, like these all naturally came together without really knowing it directly about each other, and then it all
Yeah.
just sort of worked. I think like that we're all kind of just drawn to each other in a way.
It's so weird, isn't it? Like, it's sort of like a spiritual thing or psychic thing. You don't have to even speak it. You just know it and sense something. It's like a vibration. It's so strange.
Real life gaydar.
I've never really had straight friends except from when I was a kid, but I don't really count them because you're basically friends
No
with
one's
who you're
anything at
close
that
to.
point.
Yeah. I think we spoke about this before in college, that I noticed that the reason why I don't have any straight friends, I think, is because the men are scared that people are going to assume they're gay, so they don't hang around with me or don't want to walk at the same time, just 2 of us, because they just assume it's a sexual thing or that person's hiding that they're actually really gay, which I think that is why I don't have straight friends in a way. Either that or just a lot of straight guys aren't comfortable in their own sexuality.
I'm very kind of aware that I come from a place of privilege and being like white, straight, and all that. You know, like it is a privileged position to be in. Because I've got 3 boys. My hope is that them growing up, they'll never make somebody feel like, oh, he doesn't walk with me because he thinks I fancy them or whatever.
I feel as though it becomes your norm, that it's just, you don't even realise it at all until someone points it out, like, oh, you don't have any straight friends. You're like, oh, wait, no, I don't. And I wonder why. And you start thinking back to all the times, the awkward moments where straight people will do that small talk with you and then try and fuck off as quickly as possible so they're not caught just speaking to you alone.
Yeah.
When you're kind of younger, you like all your friends are just straight. Nobody, as you were saying, like in primary and stuff, nobody really knows that you're gay and straight is just the norm. And then when you come out, that's when people start acting really weird towards you. So it's the whole, like, if you're, for example, the only thing I could think about when you were talking about that was like changing rooms in PE. So you would have all these straight girls and they'd be like, oh, you're looking at me, and obviously I wasn't, because they were really, really ugly, but but I would get like changed in the showers and stuff. And then so Scott was saying about the kind of straight people not wanting to hang around with you for them to be seen as gay. It actually kind of comes from that, as I don't want to hang around with straight people because I just feel in myself that I'm a predator, even though I'm not doing anything wrong, because
Yeah.
people have told me so much. That's just how I feel like I must be. If that makes sense.
I know, like, especially the shower thing and pee and stuff, that's like the worst, because even if you're not out then and people can sense that you're different. I remember in pee, like, me and, funny enough, my other friend who is gay, but obviously we weren't out at the time, we didn't know about gay, we would both get changed hidden away because I didn't want to get undressed in front of them in case they would be like, oh, you're staring at me, blah blah blah, even though I would be trying everything in my passion to be not staring at them so they wouldn't think that. So I was over exaggerating and going hiding to change and stuff, but it just secludes you more and makes you look like more of like a weirdo, so it singles you out and stuff. But I wasn't looking at it in the first place, but they get you to start believing that, oh wait, am I going to be looking at them? And when you're not,
It's
it's
like
just because they say it so much.
society built-in gaslighting almost, isn't it? Of
Mhm.
like, I mean, changing room situations for any adolescent is horrible. I can't imagine that situation multiplied with people thinking, oh my god, she's looking at me, oh my god, she's like gonna come on to me or whatever. Like, oh girl, don't have that level of interest in yourself.
It's always the ones as well that you would never have interest in a million years. They're always the ones that are first to see it. It's so strange. I remember, this wasn't so long ago actually, this was maybe a year ago. Me and Ross were at a club and there was two straight guys. This guy must have been about 6, 7. He was humongous. And the club was so empty, there was only like, it was only me and Ross and him, this guy and his friend. So they invited us back to their flat, not knowing that they're basically homophobic.
Oh my
And
god.
but the thing is, that whole night from the club to there, the one guy kept coming on to me and saying stuff about his dick and saying, "Imagine we did this, imagine we did that," and I was hammered. Uh, but then I realized the other friend got jealous if I would show that guy attention. So
Oh my god.
it started this whole weird thing. Like, straight guys, they know they're straight, but because this one was getting attention from a gay guy, the other one wanted it and was like angry for no reason whatsoever. So I'd give that guy the attention and then he'd get pissed off, and then end up turning out the big one ended up just whipping out his hair and saying, yeah, but he's not got the size of my dick, blah blah blah. That must have
Oh my god.
embarrassed this week at the little one because he was only about 5 foot something. That pissed him off, and maybe in about 10 minutes, we ended up going from all joking and stuff to this little one like grabbing me by the throat and choking me. And I was so drunk at the time though, like I love egging people on. So I was like, choke me harder, choke me harder. And it was annoying him even more. Uh,
Oh my god.
but we and Ross were so drunk that night and acting so stupid when I look back. That could have been such a dangerous situation, and we're just lucky to have got out of it. Me and Ross still talk about that to this day. We're always thinking like we need to start being more careful when we go out, because it started out we knew the guys were homophobic, so why did we go back to their house for a party and
Yeah.
stuff? Just because I was getting a bit of attention from one of them. It just doesn't make any sense. So I've learned not to put myself in those situations anymore.
What the hell was their game then? I mean, if they, you know, is it just that
Um,
ego? But it makes me feel mortified at the ignorance and the sort of and the arrogance of people just thinking, oh my, you know, I'm that much of God's gift. You
I
know,
know that the gay guy is gonna like me no matter what I look like.
you're a man, and that's all the gay guys look, obviously.
Have you had situations like that, Mel, where people assume you're coming onto them or gonna come onto them because you're a lesbian?
Yeah, like all the time in school. I remember once we were doing what do you call that? It's like woodwork or tech or something.
Yeah.
I was at a bench with she was my best friend sort of through the first year, and then she kind of wanted to be like a lot cooler and hang around with like the nerdy girls. So I remember being at this woodworking desk and me and her just having a laugh, and this girl like walking up to her and saying, "Oh, why are you friends with her? Are you not scared she's going to rape you?"
Oh my god.
Like that's just one of those things that like just kind of stuck in my head. And she just sort of laughed, like she didn't say no. Yeah, I think it is just assumed, like straight girls just sort of assume, and I don't know if it's because there's a lot more, because obviously straight people have a lot better access to like other people, so like straight people can probably get into a relationship really quickly because there's more straight people, so like there's more men, there's more women that all are attracted to one another. So I don't know if they kind of view it like that.
Here's one of my gay friends, here's another one of my gay friends. Oh, you get along. Like,
Oh my god, I hate that. I've had like even my cousins say, "Oh, do you know blah blah blah, this gay guy?" Because as if just because he's gay, I will know him. I'll know who it is. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Or you two should totally hang out. You would love each other, and I'm like, just because we're gay doesn't mean we're gonna like each other.
it's actual, I feel cringe for that. Like, I feel really embarrassed at in the thought of doing that. Like, oh.
For the listeners who don't know this, Claire's mum's actually a lesbian, so she's grew up. She knows like the LGBTQ world and stuff. She's been through it. She's not just a random straight girl we brought in just to tick the box. How did your mum actually come out to you, and what was that experience like for other people who have not went through that?
Oh my god, my mum makes me laugh about this every time we talk about it. So it was Brookside that brought my mum out the closet, the Brookside Kiss.
Oh,
and
that was a UK television show, guys, if you're listening.
if you're not as old as me and don't remember it. Yeah, so Brookside aired the first lesbian kiss. Beth's like lesbian relationship was going on, and 7-8-year-old me was like, oh, parallels, because I could see obviously my mum had a female friend who'd stay over. My mum had a female friend who'd sit up late watching TV with. My mum had a friend that she would kiss and hold hands with. But I was just like, oh, so are you gay then? She initially said yes, gay means happy, so I'm gay. Like now me can see 8-year-old mum me going like, okay, this is the moment. I said yeah, and I burst out crying, but it's because she'd lied to me first time round, and she just takes the piss mercilessly now. She's like, oh, anytime I've been outed for lying to her, she brings it up. But yeah, so Brookside dragged my mum out the closet to me.
Did your mum like introduce you to Pride?
Yeah, like we kind of went most years.
This comes to actually jump onto this week's hot topic about Pride. People are upset that the NHS are using the Pride. Well, it's not Pride. They're using a rainbow, to show support for them working during the coronavirus. I've got a tweet here from someone called Melton Swans who says, I understand the frustration around the rainbow flag being used for the NHS, but think it's a great opportunity for us to commit to using one of these flags instead. They recognise people of colour and trans people more explicitly. So I'll put the flag up on the screen. It's a rainbow flag, but it's got, black, brown, light blue,
Is that
pink and white.
yeah?
Yeah, so it's exclusive of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand that. I kind of agree. I don't know if maybe we should update the Pride flag and make it more exclusive, or do you think we should stick to just the original Pride flag because stands for, it's been upstanding for so long?
I guess historically, like obviously the reason behind it and stuff, it's really good for a community to have a recognised symbol that is, like the Pride flag is recognised by most people as being the Pride flag. Sometimes when you change things that historically been used like that, it can take away that certainty of that identity of image.
Well, I think the Pride flag, I'm not too sure. I'm not well versed on exactly what each colour means, but I know the colours stand for a certain value or a certain.
Yeah, I'll
So
Google that while you
yeah,
talk about things.
I think there's elements that are good about the pride flag being used just now. This kind of idea of like hope and coming together, but I think if you use that flag and you don't usually hold those values, I think you're
See,
yeah,
I get the anger from people because on one side you've got people saying, well, that's just another like straight people and stuff taken away from us
mhm,
and using it for different reasons. But then I also understand that a lot of them are just using the rainbow. They're not particularly like doing the actual flag.
I think
I've got so many mixed emotions on this one. When I first seen the thing at people's windows, I was like, what the fuck? Why are there so many like hand-drawn rainbow things everywhere? And I didn't know about the NH. It was like for the NHS, and I'm like, that's so strange. Is it coming up to Pride? But then I did get pissed off for like 5 minutes, and then I realized, oh, it's kind of like I can understand they're using bright colors and stuff to signify because the pride flag, the red means life, orange means healing, yellow means sunlight, green means nature, blue means serenity, and purple means spirit. So it is like all positive affirmations, basically positive
yeah,
words that, like life and healing and stuff. All I hope is the people that are using it do agree with, queer
yeah,
people.
just because it is for a good cause doesn't mean that it's not erasing our identity. And I think maybe they could have used like a sunshine or
Yeah.
I don't know, like a smiley face or something.
yeah,
I know, because
I
they've been
don't.
so simple to come up with their own design. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how it started. When I was walking around in the areas, like, especially around my hometown and stuff, I'm looking at these pride flags and rainbow symbols, and I'm like, wow, if only they were that loving when it came to Pride Month and used them just as much. How do you feel more about updating the flag? Are you for it or against it?
I think it's a bit of a tricky one. It's one of those ones that you're kind of scared to talk about. I think I'm more towards not updating it. I mean, looking at the values that you've described now, I don't really see how those could be like not inclusive to everyone.
Yeah, I just clicked on there because the colors, it says like life, healing and stuff. It doesn't say anything about straight, bisexual. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't,
Yeah,
the colors aren't there to represent a sexuality.
and I think as well putting like bringing like race into it is it's a bit of a dodgy one because that I think that'll just make the community more divided. Honestly, it would just create more division.
Do you know what I'm actually just realizing from this tweet as well? That he basically is singling out black people and trans people as though they aren't part of the flag. Like, the flag is
mhm.
for all LGBTQ people, no matter what your color is, gender and stuff. So he's insinuating that the pride flag goes against trans people and people of color.
You said last week, like, we are voicing our opinions in this, and obviously then people who are making these tweets, they are like, that's their opinions.
Just as now the pride flag is becoming more accepted as a symbol, like in society as at large, it would be a shame to change that. And that's not to say that the people who are wanting to change it don't have good intentions, because I'm sure there are lots of issues. I can't speak as a person of colour or that obviously, but I'm sure there are many issues where people of colour etc are marginalised within our community, but
Oh, definitely.
because of a flag, that's not because of a flag, and that's something that we need to address and stand by our people of colour, brothers and sisters and all that sort of thing. But I think it's just not the right thing to do is to change things that are really important to our identity. Maybe just be more inclusive as a community.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think we definitely need to be more inclusive, but it's nothing to do with the flag because there are still some people who are going on these dating apps and stuff and say no blacks, no Asians and stuff like that. You have to
Mhm.
be basically white and a twink. They don't want any exclusive. They just stick to the one thing. And
I
that says a lot about.
preference that it's okay to have a type, I guess. Then when you masquerade that as an identity for an entire community, I think would be when it becomes problematic. Like, it would be okay for, say, oh, tall guys, it'd be okay for, say, like, well, like slim guys, that's or you know,
I've I've had like arguments and discussions with people and like friends who say I'd fuck a black guy, but I would never date a black guy, and I'm like, what? Because y-
yeah.
that is that is racism, no matter how you
Oh,
put it.
my friend's married to a Nigerian man and has children. They've got 4 children, 4 children, and she's white, Glaswegian, and so me and her have a lot of conversations on that same kind of topic. So the amount of women who really fetishize black men is unreal. And she said actually having a son who's mixed race, she said she just hopes that never happens to him. And I guess that's just another marker of that there's still a long way to come. And
It just shows you we do have such a long way to go. That I feel as though we're not even scratched on the surface.
I was just thinking the whole time, my God, like we think we're so progressive, and as a society, it seems to be that we, there's still a struggle to go right. They're not the same as me.
I'm just looking at the topics and wondering which way we should go down. Do you have any specific ones you want to discuss right now?
Well, the repeal of Section 28 was pretty topical for today, because today was it 30 years or so since it was implemented. If you don't know, people at home, Section 28, it was brought in, I believe, 30 years ago, and it was basically this bill following on from the kind of AIDS crisis that just sort of marginalised gay people even more. So basically Margaret Thatcher made this really infamous speech about how children in schools have been shouldn't be like lied to and be led down this morally wrong path of being taught about gay people. So as a result, anything to do with homosexuality was banned from schools. Councils weren't allowed to fund any libraries or any books and stuff that had gay characters in it. Like that's how bad it was. You couldn't even have like pieces of art and things funded by the council that had gay people in it. It was like a total erasure. And it was only 2000 in Scotland and 2003 in England and Wales where it was repealed. And that had a knock-on effect, certainly in schools. And I know you guys would have been in school at that point. It was still having like a massive effect. Because even though it was repealed, there wasn't any sort of thing to say how they go on from that repeal.
Yeah.
And it's far from being over now. I think one of the Conservatives has this sort of new idea about trans people and how trans young people, if they get puberty blockers and all that sort of thing that trans people are kind of fighting for, that it would be like this big thing, and it's all like, think of the children and how they're going to irreversibly change their bodies, and it's not protecting them at all. In fact, it's actually going to cost a lot of lives. It's just like Section 28 all over again. So kind of what I'm trying to say is, even though it's repealed and it's supposedly over, the effects of it aren't. And as we were saying, the trans people are becoming what the gay people were back then. So it's, yeah,
I've
as long
got
as we have...
the headline here that you sent was from Pink News, and it says thousands protest against Liz Truss. Is that her name? I'm guessing.
Liz
Mhm.
Truss.
Deadly plan to take away healthcare for trans kids. It will kill trans people. So she plans to take away free healthcare for, or just healthcare in general from trans kids. I don't.
Well,
Sorry,
I
I'm
think
trying to
it's like,
understand.
I think it's not sort of funding for like early stages transition for younger
yeah,
people. It's just absolute insanity. I have a friend whose daughter now, born son, is 10 and transitioning, and my friend says that now her life, her daughter's life, is just so much more enriched because she can be who she always felt she had.
I don't
And
think people give kids enough credit. Kids are smart and intelligent, so they know if something is going on in their mind, and they know there's something. I remember when I was like, I did so many gender issues, and I felt as though I was in the wrong body and stuff, and I just never ever spoke about it. And to the point where I nearly took scissors and nearly cut off my penis. In my bathroom, locked away when my mum was at work and stuff. My dad was at work, and I had timed it for around 6:45 because I knew if I'd cut it, then hopefully my mum would find me when she comes in at 6 o'clock, and then I would get sewed up and be a girl. And
wow.
I never realized how big of a thing that was until I was talking to my friend about it, and he's like, "That's not normal. Like that was like a big deal." But the way I spoke about it, I just like said as if it was nothing because I thought every gay guy went through that, and clearly they don't. Gay men know they're men.
If you'd had growing up, like if you'd had like a point of reference to say like that's not what happens, like then you wouldn't have gone through that and you wouldn't have been in that position of feeling that. I think that's an importance of allowing visibility and allowing that proper care and whether that's physical or mental health care for people in positions like that. Like it's just
Back
it's
then, like I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know trans was a thing and stuff. Like I was not aware of most things at that age because in my area and stuff, we didn't really there wasn't much going on. Like even on TV about gay people and stuff, we just weren't showing it.
so it cut out when you were just kind of talking about your experience when you were younger and leading on from that.
So but the thing is though, I didn't know trans was a thing as a kid. Because there was no thing on TV talking about trans people. There was nothing like I wasn't aware of it because gay guys and stuff like gay in general was not really a thing back in the 90s on TV. I mean, that's how big a deal Brookside and stuff was because I mean that opened a lot of kids' eyes probably to lesbians and stuff.
Yeah.
So at the time I wouldn't have known that maybe I was having gender issues or whatever. I just thought every gay guy went through it. I'm glad these days they're more aware now, and I think the internet does have a place for that. Like it's making kids more aware because of YouTube and stuff and TikTok and all that.
See, I've got 3 kids. I've got 2 kids, one who's in high school, one who'll be in high school next year, and they are very much, I mean, they're a product of their home, I think, and to such a huge extent, I think so much responsibility for all of that lies with like us as parents bringing them up with those right values, but you have to then have a society that backs it up. I think to show children that, you know, yes, this exists, but don't look at it and we'll not show you it. It's just a very difficult position to put young people and parents of, you know, good mind in. I think it's a
It
hard one.
makes kids less educated in general about the world. I feel as though kids, we should just be teaching them about everything that is going on and stop trying to mollycoddle them because they're going to find out anyway. Like, even if you don't agree with the things they're finding out about or learning about, they are
Well,
going to
that's it. You don't live in a bubble, like.
come across it no matter what we do.
When they find out about it in the future, because they haven't been exposed to it, they're going to assume that this is something sordid and something dirty because it's been hidden. 100%. I mean, I remember in school we'd get all these assemblies, rightly so, about avoiding racism, avoiding like even stuff like ageism, but never ever anything about homophobia or transphobia. And I think I think as a country and as a young person, I've certainly been let down in that respect. And I think if had that sort of thing been taught to me, I don't think that I would have the mental health issues that I have today. Yeah. And I think that is my Thatcher's fault, and it's continuing to this day.
I also think if I didn't have to learn about gay men through some straight guys saying, "Oh, you're gay," blah blah blah. You probably watch gay porn. That's how I basically knew what gay was. I was like, what is porn and what is gay? Like I had 2 questions that day. Thankfully, the internet had just became a thing.
You say thankfully.
Yeah. So I went home and I typed into Yahoo or whatever it was back then, gay porn, and then I seen 2 men doing what they do, and I'm like, what the hell is this? But the thing is, I had never even masturbated before, so I was finding about porn and gay at the exact same time, and I always wonder like if I'd been taught what gay was, would I link it in my brain so much to like sexual things? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the first time I came across it,
well, like the only exposure that lesbians tend to have is through the medium of porn, and so then it becomes a sexual concept as opposed to they're just living their lives.
A reality. Like,
that's just so you guys were talking about that in the first episode, Mel. You were saying that just the level of kind of unnecessarily like sexualization of lesbian couples. And I mean, it's insane to me, you know, kind of what you're saying about these kind of watch guys and all that. My mother, who's 60, and her partner, who's 50, go to their local pub in like walking gear, like fleeces and, you know, boots for going hiking, like sitting having a pint, and they get this, and they're like, really? Like, we're just looking forward to going home and like watching bloody Casualty and wearing comfy jammies. Like, go away.
And yous are
You never,
sexualizing it,
ever,
basically.
ever think to go up to a straight couple, you know, who are clearly out for a bloody country ramble, and be like, oh, hey, you know,
Would love to get in
there's
between
nothing
yous,
sexual in someone's presentation. Whether, you know, you can be overtly sexual in your presentation, it's still not an invitation to invite yourself into someone's bedroom. Like,
Exactly. Can I just jump and do like a cool down topic since we've done the hot topic? This week's cool down topic is most spontaneous hookups or funny date stories. Oh, I went on a date once actually with this boy who, it was a lovely boy, don't get me wrong, just not my type. I don't know how to explain it. He was on the X Factor actually. And
you're going to need a censored name or something.
I
He was on
know
a public show.
he was on a public competition show. And this was like a few years ago, and we went for dinner. But when he showed up, he was wearing, was it Spider-Man or Superman or something? It was like Spider-Man leggings. He had this other thing on that was like a Spider-Man. It basically looked like a Spider-Man latex like suits. You know those green suits that people wear.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like that except without the head, but it was all just like Spider-Man and all that.
It's
And I'm
like
like,
5-year-old's pajamas.
I was like, what the hell? And then he'd wore a big fur coat over it as well. So like there was a lot going on. And I'm like,
It's a lot.
what the hell is going on here? So we went to the buffet and sat down, and everyone was just staring at us as though we were a show. They were just staring like. So we went to the cinema after that.
Did you go and see Spider-Man?
Do you know what? I think we actually went and seen some sort of Superman thing. It was like some sort of and maybe that's why you wore it actually. Maybe that's why he was wearing it. But we were watching the movie, and see that way you know you're not into someone. He was trying to hold my hand at the
bless him.
seat, and I kept pulling away, and while I'm watching the movie, like, and then he did this. He like bent his body over to lean on my shoulder. God love him. But I ended up doing this when I was just literally pulling away, and his head was like that.
Oh my God, is it wrong? I feel really sad. I want to go and give him a hug.
I know. When I look back, I'm like, oh my God, we were great friends. Like, but it was just too much for me. That one, it was the first date. He was trying to be.
And you've never listened to the Spider-Man theme tune the same ever again.
He walked me to the train station, and the most awkward bit was when he went in for a kiss. And he came in for a kiss, and I done this. Oh, it was lovely meeting you.
Oh God, no.
Oh, I feel so bad. But it was so awkward. Do you want to just jump on to the last topic, which is, do you think social media and dating apps such as Grindr, Tinder, etc. are affecting the way we treat each other? In general, like from personal experience, I believe Grindr added to the negative reaction to gay men who are in twinks or Calvin Klein models.
See, I don't think I have an opinion on this because I've not experienced it. I haven't done dating apps, and particularly I haven't done Grindr. So having spoken to people who have found good relationships or just fun, or, you know, have said, oh, it's good because, you know, you can rule out what you're interested in with people, what you're not, and you don't have to go through the thing of sitting through an awkward date where someone's like, you're not my type. Like, someone just won't swipe on you, or someone will just, you know, block the request or whatever. But
I suppose that is a positive, that it cuts time.
Yeah.
That's the bullshit. I was reading something, I think it was an article, I can't remember what it was, but the guy had a Grindr date, went to the guy's house, and the guy, when he took his top off, he went, oh, you're not my type actually, could you leave? And it gave the guy an eating disorder, to the point where he had to get like an operation on his stomach or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a way as well, it's also dehumanize people in certain ways where they look at you like cattle and you're like, are you my type? No, next. And then they just sort of throw you to the
Yeah.
side.
It's kind of, I suppose it's like on social media where you can be fat, but you have to be the right kind of fat. Like you have to be big boobs, skinny waist, big butt. You know, you can be slim, thick, or even if you're like proper fat, so like someone like Tess Holiday or someone like 300 pounds, like she's got a quite slim face for her weight. She's got quite good proportions for her weight, and that's fine. But then people's reactions are so negative or so positive in one direction that I guess it's going to be that way on like all forms of social media, I guess.
I don't tend to follow a lot of, like, deliberately don't tend to follow a lot of like Instagram models and all that sort of thing. But when I do see them, and I find myself, like, I'm conscious of it, when I do see them, I do find myself really comparing myself to them. Like I don't know, it's really strange because I'm aware of it, and I'm aware that makes me really worry for younger people who perhaps aren't as like aware of it, and who that's just getting drip fed to, and who think that is normal, and that's just who they follow. And I mean, that's me not even following people actively trying to avoid it, but they're going on and deliberately doing that, like that, like it's having an effect on me. Them, it must be like tenfold.
You see it a lot. I think it's evident in, like, you know, you see all the memes of like 14-year-olds then, 14-year-olds now, like all that kind of thing. You know, we had our awkward phase of orange foundation and Rimmel mascara. They don't have their awkward phase, all that kind of stuff. And I think it heaps a lot of expectation on the kids who are having their awkward phase, or, you know, the people who don't fit into that category or that slot properly. Like, yeah, I'm a firm believer in whoever you are, whatever you look like and everything, there will be someone out there who sees your beauty for whatever it is. You know, and I think no matter what your looks, whatever, you know, even the absolute worst personalities, in my opinion, have people that love them. I think for kids and for younger people growing up now in a time where they're seeing visually that actually no, only certain people are lovable, I think that's really hard. And I think I wasn't actually thinking of it from the perspective of there's people who are coming into this with it never having not been the norm. Whereas for us, at least we saw it happen. We kind of saw the change go from like people with your dodgy selfies and all that to Instagram models and all that. What it is now.
Even back then, I got on eating disorder through trashy magazines and what I seen on TV, if you know what I mean. I mean, 2007 was probably the worst because that's when everyone was anorexic on every magazine cover, and that's how mine started. And I would starve myself for days, take like laxatives, go to the gym for hours, like everything in the power. So I can only imagine what these kids have on social media in their hands are like 24/7. How it must affect them mentally.
I think the fact as well that, you know, when you've got that level of pressure now on appearance and sort of what's the norm and what's, you know, what's sort of acceptable, I think then throw in the mix of struggling with your identity, whether that's gender identity, sexuality or whatever. My God, it's like it is such a boiling pot that you're throwing people into. And I don't think they're prepared for it because like you say, like I remember I mean, I'm very, very overweight, and I kind of live that way, and you know, but I haven't always been. But I remember being like 21, and it was around about the same time. Like, I remember cutting out pictures of celebrities from like Heat magazine and stuff, and I had my skinny book, which was literally a notebook with my Finspo type pics, and it was around about that time. Actually, I remember following like Pro Anna, Pro Mia, eating disorder pages and stuff, and that really led me right down like this horrible rabbit hole. Like, I was 19 when I had my first son, and you know, those kind of things you would just think, oh, like a mother, a person who's responsible for another life, like they're not going to be fussed about that. But you know, you see things enough, you're going to be influenced, and it's
as a gay guy that wears makeup and stuff sometimes in videos and pictures, I've had to experience messages from people on Grindr that say stuff like, you're the fucking reason why people hate gay people, you're the reason why we get beat up, murdered. I've got so many messages like that just from wearing makeup. So it's crazy that these dating apps give people the balls to just randomly message someone something. You would never go up to someone and say that ever. So why do they feel more protected?
It's that keyboard warrior thing, innit? Anybody can say anything behind a screen name, and
It's
all that.
that was like a big massive thing that I just got used to on Grindr, and it's sad that it's from my own community that I
I
get
was
those
gonna say,
messages.
is that quite prominent then within like
That was
dating
every
apps and stuff?
single
You think
day
quite
I
a lot
would
of
use
wow.
Grindr. There'd be someone, and I wouldn't have to, like, I would leave my phone for like 5 minutes, and you'd hear beep, 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 beep. And as soon as you know you're getting like 4 or 5 noises, that's them just typing loads of things like faggot, blah, blah, all these
Mm-hmm.
crazy shit. And the thing is, a lot of them have got their face there. They're so proud of the
Yeah.
fact that, and they always have in their profile masks for mask, no femmes, all that bullshit. Like I like my men to be men, and they don't
And
understand.
it's all good and well having a preference. I think that's fine to be upfront about having a preference. You know, if you want someone who's more masculine, if that's what you're attracted to, cool. But it's never, preference is never going to be like a stage for you to just show out and out hatred and discrimination towards other people. Like, it's just not a launch pad for that. It shouldn't be.
Especially for something so stupid of just putting stuff on my face. Like I can take a wipe to this, it comes off. Like what is your issue with a bit of cosmetics? It's so crazy.
Do you get a flip side of that? Like,
Oh
kind
yeah,
of,
like I've had lovely messages from people, especially trans people or cross-dressers who maybe aren't out the closet, who are practicing and stuff, and they always ask for makeup tips
yeah,
and all that. So there's an amazing side to it that way where I can share like true tips, and I will
yeah,
sit there and give them like long replies and stuff and have no issue. There's nothing sexual in it and stuff. We are literally just sharing makeup tips,
yeah,
and I'm trying to help them with contouring and stuff. So there's amazing side to it that way where it is giving me like a platform and place to talk to someone I may have never known before,
yeah,
and it's given them a opportunity as well to ask someone right there and then, like for makeup tips. A lot of times
yeah,
people watch YouTubers and stuff, but they may not get a reply from anyone.
yeah.
Like,
And it's really hard. Like, I think when you're kind of in a position where you want to speak to people, whether it's, you know, to whatever it's to do with, it is easier to speak to people through a screen. I think that's so much easier than approaching somebody in like real life, whether that's friendship, whether it's makeup tips, whether it's relationships, whether it's sex. Like, it's so much easier to do that. Like, it's via text rather than answering phone calls, and that's like my family, my friends, much less anything else.
same.
Like, I always lie if anybody who's watching this has ever had a message back from me saying, "Oh my god, my speaker's broken on my phone." That was a lie. I just didn't want to talk. I wanted to be able to fabricate my answer properly.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. That was Queer Opinions. Be sure to tune in next week for episode 3. Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Queer Opinions. Queer Opinions.
The podcast.
Wow.
Love, relationships, hot topics,
LGBTQ+.
gay culture,
Scott McGoldrick with Claire
With Claire.
and Mel.
and Mel.
Wow. It's just love.
It's just love.
It's just love. It's just love.